Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you could see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the Patek Philippe 5396 1R-001, 38.5mm in red gold. This is an automatic annual calendar on the rarely seen full red gold bracelet. On my 16cm circumference wrist, the watch wears broad and flat. 38.5mm is a handsome and enduring size for a men's dress complication. You can see it is relatively compact, only 11.4mm thick. It actually sits lower than that on the wrist. Now you can see from lug to lug, two ways to measure this watch. 46.8mm is the proper case lug to lug, but if you add the solid end links of the bracelet, it flares out just a bit more to 49.7mm across the wrist. So I recommend this watch on the full bracelet for a wrist 14 centimeters in circumference or larger. The space between the lugs is 20mm, and so the watch has a proportional footing to its 38.5mm case. Now the bracelet is a very comfortable piece. As you can see, many small individual links make for a wonderfully supple and soft feel across the wrist, almost like silk. And then you can see each individual link has a large gap between its form and the next link in the chain, so it winds up venting the wrist quite well. If you're going to wear your watch in a hot climate where you tend to perspire extensively, this is the best option, and it will easily outlast any strap. You can see pin sleeves used for sizing. It is a very secure system, but if you do like to size your bracelets yourself, you will need a pin punch and a sizing block to make adjustments. That said, the clasp is very nicely made. You can see internally a little spring-loaded ceramic pin snap to maintain the tight tolerances. It is a double fold, and as you can see, it's a double fold with a clamshell lock featuring the image of the Calatrava cross on the exterior and a nice camber to its underside to trace the arc of the underside of your wrist. Jumping back to the case, you can see case flank pusher adjusters are used, the Calatrava cross, Patek's emblem used again on the crown, and the case band itself quite simple. As you can see, integrated Calatrava style flowing lugs blended seamlessly with the case band, and a strong horizontal line formed by the junction of the mid case with the bezel. The bezel has a vertical component and then it has a conical component. It is quite flat, but it does have a little bit of a slope and it slides easily underneath any cuff. We take a look at the dial and you can see some of the features that help to set this dial apart even within the Patek catalog. First and foremost, for a complication, it has a wonderful symmetry. You can split it from the double index at 12 right down to the date window at 6, and it will be bilaterally symmetrical, so it is a very nicely balanced dial. You can see outboard diamond polished and faceted rose gold hour indices. There are stepped apertures for the date as well as the day and the month to ease the transition from the silver white opaline frosted dial. And it's not a sunburst, it's a sort of matte finish that Patek calls opaline. Outboard you can see polished rose indices, mini indices for the minutes and the seconds, counterweighted lancet style seconds hand, and faceted Dauphine style hands at center. Now the watch features a annual calendar, so you can see the day, the date, the month. You can also see the moon phase, and the watch is programmed such that you really only need to adjust it once, hence annual calendar. The jump from February to March. There is a 24-hour indicator that lets you know, for example, whether you are looking at 3:40 or 3:40 in the evening, so AM or PM. And as you can see right now, because the 24-hour indicator is just short of 4, you are looking at 3:40 AM rather than PM. And the reason for that is that you don't want to accidentally use the pusher adjusters to try to set the calendar during the night when it's engaged in its automatic turnover. Now the watch is powered by a Patek Philippe caliber 324, center seconds, annual calendar, and lunar, which means moon phase. So it's a bit of an alphabet soup. I'm going to get as close as I can now and try to get everything in focus so you can see the caliber 324. Automatic winding, unidirectional for efficiency, more efficient than bidirectional. Ceramic rotor bearings, allowing it to effectively operate unlubricated for the life of the rotor. It also features a free-sprung balance, Gyromax style in Patek's fashion. Adjusted in 6 positions, the Gyromax architecture helps it to hold that regulation and be less susceptible to bump or shock-induced timing deviation. And of course you've got the Spiromax silicone hairspring from Patek Philippe, which is heavily anti-magnetic. You'll also note that this watch bears not the Geneva hallmark, but the Patek Philippe seal. Let me bring that back real quick so you can see it. See if I can zoom in a bit. The Patek Philippe seal is an attestation not just of finish by Patek, but also a guarantee that the watch will run no worse than -3 plus 2 seconds per day, so it does have a substantive basis. 34 jewels and adjusted in those 6 positions. Remember, a chronometer generally is adjusted only in 5 positions. You have a 35 to 45 hour power reserve and handsome finish. You can see linear Côte de Genève across the bridges, circular Côte de Genève across the rotor, engine-turned perlage, micro-perlage at the center of the rotor, and then you have a larger engine-turned perlage just below the balance on the base plate, mirrored chamfer or angulage on every bridge edge, and the same treatment in every jewel and screw countersink, with black polished screw heads featuring chamfered slots. All of this 30 meters water resistant. It has just about every feature and function you could want, except for hacking seconds. The timepiece can be seen and purchased on our website, thewatchbox.com.